Let me just shut the chat off there. Go over here and do that. Let me make sure that I am okay. I'm running on data. That's a good thing. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Fat Nemo, how are you, darling? Um, I didn't give anybody any time, any notice. I just posted it on Facebook and said, "Here I am." So I guess I should go over to Facebook and hey, Susan Bass, how are you, darling? Okay, let me just. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I've had one of those days where I get discombobulated easy because nothing is in my normal routine today. Excuse me. All right, I'm just going to share this with some of my moderators. I send it through Messenger to quite a few people. But today it'll just be moderators because I'm already here and I kind of started things ass backwards. And there we go, and there we go, and there we go, and there we go, and there we go. And there we go, and there we go, and there we go. Okay. So, how's everybody doing today? Okay. Oh my goodness. Fat Mima, Susan Bass, Southpaw. Hello. Terry White, Betty Randall, Joey Hubbard, Celtic Bear, Food Forest Permaculture. Hi, Howie. Mary Cleveland, Tim Smith, Julia Johnson McGee, Autumn Gypsy, Utter Goss, and Julie from Florida, Bella's Patio Garden, Joey Hubbard, Penny D, Kathy Miller. Kathy Miller. Do I know you, Kathy Miller? Are you a Canadian? Do you have beautiful strawberry blonde reddish hair? I know sometimes names, You know, a name will come from your past and they'll go, I know that name, but it's not always the same person. So, Susan Bass, I'm great, Bev. 34 pints of corn canned garden, all planted, and baked beans in the oven. I'm telling you, my garden is in. I actually pretty sure there's a video about it tomorrow, or is tomorrow the apricot tree? I don't know. I'm giving myself some time this week. I've gotten some videos ahead up to Thursday so that I can actually do some chapter work on my reading channel. It's going to be a really busy season. As a matter of fact, I had to de-volunteer from Meals on Wheels today because I realized when I woke up, like it's tomorrow, I was going to do the delivery tomorrow and there is somebody who can take my place, thank God. But I woke up this morning and I was like the Tin Man without the oil can. And it had rained. God knows we need the rain. But I'm realizing if this is how I feel in May, how am I going to feel when I'm weeding and picking and canning and you know what I mean? So it's like, you know what? I can't be relied on. I can't because I don't know from one day to the next if I'm going to be okay when I get out of bed. Yes, Fat Mima, I can see you, sweetheart. Good afternoon. Hi, Sarah Young and Joey Scala from beautiful Maine. Vicky Lemire. Oh, you've been out weed whacking the garden, yeah. As soon as this rain goes, Howie's got to go and do around my garden too. I didn't have enough rugs. So, hi, Annie Guy. 5-stroke Wander Scotland. 5-stroke Wander Scotland. You're calling me young one? Holy crap. Pretty sure I'm older than I look. Don't let the gray hair fool you. I'm a lot older than I look. Oh, okay. I'm the chat's flying by me here. What happened to your beans that grew against the impossible odds? Well, I planted them. And they grew and they gave me beans. And I harvested I think I was 5 seeds from those miracle beans, and that got planted in the bean beds this year. So their tribute to life is their struggle to survive. They have gone on to become beans in my garden. It's a bad feeling not to be able to do as we want. Oh, hell yes. Hey, Heather Finley. Yeah, I know. Hey, Iron Dog. Mary Jane. Mary Jane's having a hard time, folks. We're going to make sure we do some extra praying for her today. She's stuck in her 4 walls. She doesn't have a personal support worker. Her phone is broken. She's watching this on her tablet. She's like more isolated than she actually needs to be. And it's really not emotionally, mentally healthy for anybody, let alone somebody in her health, emotional, and physical health. So, oh, thank you, Rose. Hey, Rose, make sure you're on live chat, folks, not top chat. Waiting on the rain. Yeah, our rain came last night. And hurting today for sure. I hear you, Susan. So, Mary Jane's kind of like incommunicado. All she's got is Facebook Messenger and YouTube. So, I mean, and she really can't type well either because she has, due to some of the medications she's on, she's very, very shaky. So it's really hard for her to type on a tablet. So, been raining on and off all day here. Where is here, Terry? Uh, Extra prayers for Mary Jane. Thank you, Nani. I have heart surgery later this week. Can't wait for June. I hope I will have more energy. I hope so too, honey. But remember, don't push it. Follow instructions. Okay? And, one step, baby steps. Okay? Had my first cup of Yorkshire Gold. Put store brand tea to shame. Trying to find malty biscuit, but all out. I hear you, Matthew. I've got 5 boxes of malty biscuit left, and they are stashed. They're stashed because I'm going to make them last me till Christmas, right? So they're like, no more a cup of tea a day or 2 cups of tea a day when I'm feeling naughty. I'm drinking straight tea, and I ain't opening another malty biscuit until June. So 3 more days to Patricia's leg fitting. Woo! That's right. No, 2 more days. She goes on Wednesday. Today's Monday. Hey, Cool Motion. Yorkshire Red is strong and bold. I love the Yorkshire Red. I love the Yorkshire Gold, and I love my multi biscuit. Those are my 3 favorites. I also like Taylor by the same company, Taylors of Harrogate. I like their Scottish breakfast tea and their English breakfast tea and their Irish breakfast tea, all really, really good. And if you can't get them there, you can get I think it's Stashy or Stash, makes an organic Irish breakfast tea that's just to die for. Because Briar had it in at the store where Briar was working, and he'd always make me one because I wasn't going to Tim Hortons anymore then. Oh, yeah. So exciting. Hey, Sherry, baby. Hello. Welcome to Family Homestead. I have to get back to work. Hope all have a blessed day. Oh, yes. You take care, Sarah. Uh-oh. Somebody wants her attention. Oh, my goodness. Did you tell everybody you went for a drive with us to Kitty Gazebe? And you barked at somebody who got too close to the truck? Because Mommy and Nana were inside. Oh, my goodness. And you got to tell everybody that Mommy and Daddy, yeah, I'm going to tell them. No, I'm going to tell them. Mommy and Daddy gave Gracie a bath last night. And oh, is she so soft and shiny? And she's not scratching as much. Hey, baby. Yes. Oh, Mommy, give me a kiss. No, give me a proper kiss. A proper kiss. Thank you. I love you. Go lay down. So, yes, she had her long overdue bath. We've been meaning to bath her for 3 weeks. And finally, last night, I said to Howard, this is the weekend 3 you've been promising Gracie your bath. She's not really thrilled about it, but she loves the attention that Mommy and Daddy are both massaging all this, shampoo and making sure she's completely really well. Because Boxer's hair is really, really short, but it's dense. It's really dense. Oh, my goodness. Bev, how is Gracie doing with the scratching? Did the Benadryl help? Yes. And the bath helped too. I need to fix some sun tea. Finish it off last night. Oh, I love sun tea. Next sunny day, I'm going to make some. I hope Tim Hortons is making you better tea. Well, I don't go there that often. So, Patricia Fury! Bev, thank you for the call yesterday. You're very special to me. I love you. Well, of course, honey. Of course. I was just thinking of you. I mean, I only have 500 minutes for US calling, right? So I kind of bang, 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 bang. Like I called Furby as well, and I've got to call Dallas. So, um, Joanne Nelson, yesterday was my son's birthday, and he would be 55, and also my sober day of 34 years. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joanne. Happy birthday to you. Keep coming back. Woo! June 2nd, I'll be 23 years. One day at a time. One day at a time. Have you ever used the Teflon sheets on your dehydrator? Are they worth it? I don't want anything Teflon in my house. That shit's poison. Killed so many people. Can you call us over Facebook Messenger? Sometimes, but I don't keep it on for that reason. I very rarely talk in chat. Sometimes I'll post some stuff because I'm on this computer far too much. And when I'm on phone, I'm usually checking emails and stuff like that. So, no, I don't call anybody over Facebook Messenger except Sam because she's in Great Britain. And yes, I can't wait. It's been very hard on you. It's coming, baby. You just keep moving forward. And remember, you got to learn how to walk in them before you got to worry about whether you're going to put fishnet or silk on them new legs, right? Hi from Oxford Mills, Ontario. Hi, Christine. How are you? I will. Thanks for the B-Day song. Big hugs for you, Bev. Thank you, darling. Marilyn, thank you for the prayer. Love it. What's a valid question? I have a dark sense of humor. My content is about the people who call women like me Shitska. Isn't that... Wait a second. Shitska. Isn't that, Jewish? Isn't that Jewish? And isn't Shitska, I'm lost. What was the question? I don't know. I'm missing something here. I think she should get them tattooed. Tattooed on her. That would be a waste of money. Why not have them painted? I'd actually have them painted in tattoos. And then when I get tired of them, make the paint washable. Like you can wash it off and then get new tattoos. Oh, that's so cool. That's a great idea, actually. What is a shishka? Anyway, I bought some Screams from Dollar Store for my dehydrator. Thank you for the advice. Oh, these! I still haven't put it back in the fridge. These? Did it work for you? Like, I think I'm just going to cut right around here so that it'll fit. Or just put snips in it, like from the center so that it'll slide up. I put... Oh, tattooed in quotes. Hi, Bev, I just made it. I hope I'm not too late. Hey, Sherry. No, you're not too late, darling. We just got here. I've got supper in the crock. And about 20 minutes before Daddy's due home, I will throw in a bunch of noodles because it's chicken noodle soup because we had roast chicken yesterday. I looked for those, but they were out. Look for what? I'm going to use this week. I'm not sure I understand that. For a split second, I was in my AA head and I heard somebody say, I'm going to use this week. So if you could please clarify that, Chaos. Yum, chicken soup. Thanks for the prayers, everyone. Someone's car alarm keeps going off and it's not helping my migraine. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Make sure you drink lots and lots of water. Oh, the screens. Okay, okay, okay. Awesome. Sapphire, just passing through on my way to work, hitting the like button. Take care, everyone. You take care and drive safely, Sapphire. They were out. I'm telling you, don't underestimate how fast stuff like this gets shared on my Facebook, right? If you like what you, oh, okay. Thank you, Terry. Marilyn, it was so beautiful, and my husband framed it for me. Thank you. Oh, what did I miss? Uh, oh, it's a derogatory name for non. Okay. All right. Well, it's so humid here today. I'm short of breath. Drat it. Well, guess what? Then put your feet up above your heart in a recliner and have a sweet tea. And add some lemon to that to help. Um, if you're short of breath, it could be congestive heart. So please put your feet up and drink a diuretic tea with lemon in it, and put your feet above your heart until your shortness of breath goes down, okay? No, folks, I'm not a doctor. I just know what works for me, and I try and help. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a professional in anything except being me, and even that, I'm not sure that's a profession in itself. It's just a way of life. Wow, that's good weed. Marilyn sent me a prayer that Richard framed for me. It's beautiful. Oh, my brain is hit and miss today, not computing well. Hey, Leslie from Buffalo. Buffalo. I hear you, Chaos. I do. Hey, James. Bitten ass sister. Um, Used especially by Jews, a Gentile girl or woman, and well, since I'm Jewish, I asked. There you go. There you go. It's all right. Uh, Potassium is good for CHF. Well, that may not be what it is. She just could be just short of breath because she's short of breath. And if her son is 55, I'm going to say Joanne's pretty aged. So she wants to relax, sip on some sweet tea, and put her feet above her heart. I'm not a professional friend. Ew, that's even worse. Oh, no, there's something creepy about that. Maybe it's because I've been watching Shameless on Netflix, and Frank Gallagher's just a total narcissistic, alcoholic, deadbeat idiot. Uh, can you can chicken in a half-gallon jar? And how long on each item? I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sure you can, but I wouldn't begin to know the times for canning meat that large in quantity. If it was full of broth, I no, I can't. I'm not even going to talk on that one because I honestly, God, don't know. I've never canned anything except flour in a half-gallon jar. Hate to say it, but I love Shameless. I know. But I mean, the alcoholic in me just goes, oh my God. Oh my God. Like I obsess over the weirdest things. Okay. There was this scene where his bipolar wife comes back and she wants to be the mom again. And she finds all the kids. There's 6 kids and they've all been working, even as little kids, to put money in the jar to get them through the winter. And it's called the Squirrel Fund, right? Because the kids are going to be in school. So they all work really hard all summer so they can help pay the bills over the winter. And the bipolar mom, who's also a drug addict and an alcoholic, finds the Squirrel Fund. And Frank doesn't even question where she found it. They just go on this tour. They buy a car, they go on drugs. They've got their toddler, Liam, on the floor in the back seat. Okay? So all this shit's going on, and she kicks him out of the car somewhere in Milwaukee. And she goes and she picks up her other daughter and she takes her shopping for all these dolls and stuff. And all I'm saying is, where the hell's Liam? Where the hell's Liam? That's the toddler that all the only last time I saw was on the floor in the back of that car somewhere in Milwaukee. And mom's on a tear and kicked dad out of the car. And all I'm thinking about is, where's that kid? Where's that kid? I was waiting. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's the alcoholic in me. I'm going, where's the kid? Oh my God. Oh my God. And I'm praying at a TV show going, please let Liam be okay. Please let Liam. But the thing was, is me as a sober alcoholic recognized all the behaviors. And I'm going, where's that little kid? Where's that? Did she leave him in a store somewhere? Because all through, and either that was brilliantly written or it's just me. But I was obsessing until I saw that kid in his playpen or in a high chair again. I was like, has anybody found Liam yet? You know what I mean? Other than Dry Goods, yeah. I've been watching Travelers on Netflix and crazy. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That was a good one, too. Almost missed you. I was outside gardening. Hi, Lori. Hopefully tomorrow I will dehydrate corn and green beans. Oh, my God. My garden's so in, and it rained last night. Put the beans and the pumpkins in yesterday, and it rained last night. And I can't tell you, and I wish it was pissing on rain right now because I can't tell you how badly we need it. So, I mean, you know, Shameless, I'm somewhere between totally getting it. And when I watch that show, there's a part of me that's the child of origin in my head. So there's a part of me that's those kids, one of those kids. Then there's the part of me that's the parents. And then there's the part of me that's the sober adult child coming out of an alcoholic home. Do you get why I watch Shameless? I've never lived in a house that bad, but holy shit, I knew some who did, you know? Hi, so-and-so. You so-and-so. How are you, darling? I don't think they're considered safe, Roberta. No, I don't think they're considered safe. But I want to send you pictures of my garden today. Well, are you going to send them to Connected Hearts or my personal email? Or are you going to send them to my phone? Because I don't always check all this shit. The only thing I keep checking on a regular basis is I'm sorry, I forgot what channel I was on. The only thing I keep checking on a regular basis is my Mrs. Wolfie at Gmail, because yeah, I have to. It gets like loaded with hundreds of emails every day, right? I can't seem to grow anything. I blanch cabbage before do I blanch cabbage before dehydrating? Can't remember. Oh, if you want to dehydrate cabbage in leaves, like I would quarter the cabbage, okay? I would cut the core out of it, like I would quarter it, and then cut the thick core out of it, and drop the quarters into boiling water. And then as they soften a bit, pull them off. And then dehydrate them like that. If you're shredding it and you just want it for soup or whatever, just shred it fine and dehydrate it like that. But if you want the nice, as soon as it hits that nice green color in the water, pull it out and throw it on the dehydrator tray. Do you understand? And then all you have to do is drop them in boiling water to rehydrate, and boom, you've got fresh cabbage darn near, right? If it ever stops raining, I can get I need rain so bad. Hey, Rachel, how's it going? Okay, Patricia, I'll check my phone. Please don't Furia, please don't post them on Connected Hearts. Okay. I binge watched Shameless over a 3-week period. I can so relate that fan as well. Well, you know what? It reminds me of my old neighborhood in Toronto, because I grew up in an industrial blue collar area of Toronto, which would probably, it's not even East York. It's like, it's in between the beaches and downtown. and the waterfront, right? Such a small area, but it was like that. It was a lot of it was like that. Wendy and I were talking about it the other day. How we literally had to fight our way through on our way to school sometimes, right? How I hated school for a reason. And the sad thing is I love to learn. And if school had been kind, yeah. Oh, okay. If school had been kinder to me, my public school until grade 6 was brutal. It was brutalizing. It's the only way. You if you've heard the book "A Tree Grows in Brooklyn" that I read on my thing, it's not that far off. It's only 60 years later, right? And it was the school system teachers were like my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Gibson, was out from nervous breakdowns more than he was there. And we had no less than 5 different substitute teachers rotating out with him. So there were 6 teachers constantly on rotation in grade 5. And I was abused, I was stalked, I was molested. It was a brutal. And then when I got to high school, I was shoved through school, and I got to high school and I couldn't function. Right? I don't know how I passed and graduated high school. School was not a kind place for me. Never was. Unless mathematics upgrading at Sir Sanford Fleming College, that was a riot. But you know what? I would love to be able to go back to school. I would. I got my grade 12 education, but I love learning. I just didn't like the way it was being shoved down my throat, If it ever... Okay, whoops. I dehydrated 9 full trays of zucchini last week. Woo! Hey, Shay Shay! Best way to dehydrate... The best way to dehydration of yellow squash, I don't know. I've never grown yellow squash. So, I honestly, Shameless is one of those things. Like I was saying to Wendy, I was saying, my older sibling, I'm the youngest out of 5, and some of my older siblings and Wendy and someone else and I were talking, and my one brother said to me, he said, "Do you even remember life after Mom died, Bev?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What do you remember?" I said, "I remember being a latchkey kid for the first time. I remember knowing what I remember having the house key on a shoelace around my neck. And, I don't know." And he goes, "Bev, you've blocked out a lot of the stuff that you emotionally could not handle at 9 years old after Mom died." Right? I mean, my whole... Wendy said it today, and I didn't realize it until she said it. She said, "Bev, you are a survivor." And when I say survivor, I don't mean a survivalist kind of person. I mean a survivor of, childhood, school, brutality, alcoholism. You know what I mean? And you know what? I like me today. Isn't there a song called Shameless? I know, but I know there's one called Helpless. I was a latchkey kid, yeah. And I remember skipping school in the 4th grade. Skipping school, going home with my friend Penny at lunch hour to her babysitters and deciding just not to go back to school that day. And going home early so that I could just say, I was already making it up in my head that I didn't go back to school because I wasn't feeling well. But guess what? I walked in the door before school was even let out, and my brother Billy was sitting at the piano. He got off early that day. He was in high school. And he looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?" Right? Oh man, if Billy hadn't been home, I would have gotten away with it. And who I could have been, that was one incident in my life that could have changed my life very radically. Because I was smoking cigarette, I wasn't inhaling, but I was Benny's babysitter smoking cigarettes and all kinds of shit. And the babysitter wasn't all that swift on the uptake, right? Hey, okay, vampires just came in. I think this is their last stick. Good. Make sure you keep drinking. Trauma causes a lot of amnesia in abused kids. Well, yeah, and I know it's not so much abuse; it's just trauma. Period. Right? Yeah, there was abuse. There was mental and emotional abuse. There was some other, right? But I mean, we had a really tight knit family that, why would you want friends when you've got so many cousins? We weren't encouraged to make friends outside our family. We were not encouraged to be joiners in anything, right? So my kids went to Beavers. My kids went to Cubs. I don't care if I was an alcoholic. I made sure my kids got into soccer. You know what I mean? Oh, honey, I just did one of the. Yeah. Well, high school was a whole other ballgame, man. High school, there was one year we had 5 deaths and 4 of them were suicides. Because the high school I went to, because I lived way up in the boonies, because Dad got us out of the city, thank God. But then, in grade 9, I get the only reason I passed grade 8 was because my grade 7 teacher taught a split grade 7-8 class the following year. Jean Henning, if you ever watch these. Mrs. Henning, and I do have her email address, so I'm going to send this to her. That woman is the only reason I survived grade 9. Okay? Because my father didn't understand. He had a grade 8 education. And my eldest brother had said he talked to my one brother and who was still in school, and he said, I've got to sign these papers to, Bev wants to go general, which is, 9 to 12. Advanced was grade 13, which is preparatory for university, not college, right? And he said, no, I want you to take the, grade 9, your advanced courses. I said, I can't do that, Dad. I can't. And he said to me, Bev, you got to try it. And if it doesn't work, it's easier to drop back down to general than it is to go from general to advanced. And you're really smart. You're really intelligent. I said, Dad, don't do this to me. I can't. I failed every class except art. Every single class. Because I barely made it through public school. And it wasn't until years later that I realized that my father, not knowing anything about high school, had asked my brother for advice. And one day I said, yeah, well, if it wasn't for Dad making me take advanced my first year of high school, I failed everything my first year of high school. And my brother said, well, that's because it's easier to go drop down from advanced to general than it is to go from general to advanced. And I looked at him and I went, so that's where that came from. So he advised my dad from a distance to put me in advanced classes, and then I couldn't function, and Dad couldn't help me. Whole year of my life wasted. But I guess it's not wasted if you learn, right? So that was my first married name, Henning. But, everybody remembers one teacher, right? I have several. Bob McConkey, he was my marketing teacher in high school. He saved me from suicide, doesn't even know it, okay? Jean Henning, Mrs. Dadswell, my kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Dadswell. If she's still alive, I highly doubt it. But I love Mrs. Dadswell. I used to draw nudes in junior kindergarten. And one year when I was it was after Mom died, I was about 11, I guess. I was visiting at my sister Wendy's. Turns out Mrs. Dadswell lived across the street from my sister. And she wasn't a teacher at our school anymore. And I was walking down the street one day to go to the store for my sister, and she was sitting on her front porch, and I went, Mrs. Dadswell. And she said, hello, Beverly. Are you still drawing nudes? She was a teacher who saw into little girls' hearts. She was a wonderful lady. And in grade 5, when I was grade 5 and 6, when I was going through so much trauma, they sent me down to the library to volunteer, to help out in the library as a volunteer. They would send me down. In junior kindergarten, you always had 2 teachers, okay? And if a teacher called in sick, as in grade 6, they would let me go down into the junior kindergarten class and be like a monitor and help the teacher, right? Why? Because they couldn't teach me. I was ADHD before they even knew what it was. I was full of lead. You know? Yeah, nudes, serious. So, who? Let me see. Oh, Jesus wept. I'm sorry, folks. That was not taking the Lord's name in vain. That was quoting the Bible, because that's as close as I can come to saying to what this idiot said on here. So, 8th grade, Mrs. Murphy from Boston. Absolutely. But in high school, I had to get on a bus, and I had to, walk a mile uphill both ways kind of thing. But I had to walk a kilometer to my bus stop. And then I rode from Apsley to Lakefield, which is like 27 to 30 kilometers every day. And the thing is we weren't the only ones being bussed in from an entirely different town. There were 5 different regions being served by that one high school. And guess what? One of the regions was, up like hillbillies up in Apsley and Cohill, not Cohill. Cohill kids went to another school. Glenalda, right? And then there's the Curve Lake Indian Reserve, right? And then there was other, the math hall, the science hall, the smoking area. Every corridor or section of that school had its own gang. Why? Because you can't put 5 different counties and towns of kids into one high school and tell them to get along, especially when they're out of their own zones. We're all coming out. Like, yeah, there was the local kids, okay? They were just the local kids. But there were 4 other areas coming in, and everybody's pissing on everybody else's doorstep trying to be cock of the walk. High school was brutal. Connected Hearts Facebook getting requests to join group. No questions, fill out, no membership. There you go. If you don't answer the questions, you don't get in. That's Celtic Bear and Furby's and Terry's thing. Gathering gangs and say be nice. Exactly. Play nice. Right? You have no idea. Like I said, one year, there was 5 deaths in our school. 4 of them were suicides. I mean, the guidance, I remember the guidance my one guidance counselor, because I was having a nervous breakdown in grade 12. I wasn't even going to class but 3 days a week, and then I never wrote anything down. I don't know how I passed exams. Right? Exactly. But when you put chickens together that don't know each other, what do? You put them in at night when there's no light. And they wake up in the morning going, oh, I didn't see you there. Hello. And it's like, yeah, cluck. Now they will have a pecking order. They will sort that out. But it isn't as nuts as if you try and put 5 sets of chickens in the same pen that are all grown up and looking at each other like, okay, who are you? What are you doing on my turf? Everybody's fighting. You shove everybody in the same place. Everybody's fighting for the same piece of turf, right? Just, high school was not a kind place for me. And yet I have good memories. I have good memories of being dressed all in black as a vampiric witch with the makeup to match, rolling a long black skirt and a black cowl sweater, and a black wig, and roller skating through the halls. It was fun. It was fun. I don't know whose skates I borrowed, but Connected Hearts group in Facebook. No, my chickens aren't laying yet, Mandy. Well, I had home ec in grade 9 and 10, which was fine, right? Um, because my dad wouldn't teach me how to cook because he was still teaching himself. So I learned to cook. I took home economics in grade. That's where I learned how to run a sewing machine too. And that kind of stuff just never really goes away. Accounting was the worst. Accounting was the worst. Roller skates, love it. Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't ice skate, but I could roller skate. Yeah, I could roller skate. And not the inline roller blades, roller skates. Totally different ball game. So, link above from Terry White for Facebook page. Okay. See, Howie calls me the walking calculator, but I was no good at math. I was no good at math. I quit math in 10 because grade 9 was grade 9. I barely passed math in grade 9, the advanced level. And they said they would pass me, I'm remembering now, if I would take grade 10 general level. And I did. But I still had no idea what the hell algebra was. A plus B equals C, what the hell? So when I was 21, I went back to school at Sir Sanford Fleming College for upgrading. And for an entire summer, I did nothing but math. And I went from grade 9 to halfway through grade 11 advanced math. But they said, write the test anyway. I said, I haven't finished all the modules. They said, write the test anyway. But I failed it, the grade 11 one, because they said they really wanted me to finish it, but I was out of time, right? They said, write the test anyway. I said, but I failed it. But there's something, every children has a button. Children have buttons, okay? You just got to know which button to push to turn on the desire to learn, right? I could not do algebra or geometry. I took trigonometry, everything, right through. Right? I was advanced trigonometry when I was going into physics almost, physics math, because I needed it for the telephone systems course I was going to take, which I had a nervous breakdown and had to quit. Threw bowling ball down the longest hallway, scared the tar out of English teacher, Mr. Lansrith. Oh, my goodness. But because I was focused on math and I wasn't being taught, we all went in, we signed out modules out of the library. We worked through them in class with a teacher walking around. If you had a question, he would come and help you figure it out. And then when you finished the module, you would go and you would book a test and you would write. And if you passed, you went on to the next module. This was mathematics upgrading in the summer of, and there was something in my brain that went, like my brother-in-law, I was trying to do it through correspondence. That's how I started. I was trying to go through correspondence. And my brother-in-law, Marty, kept telling me, Bev, if you have 5 apples and 5 oranges, what do you have? And I said, 10 pieces of fruit. And he goes, no, you have 5 apples and 5 oranges. I said, I have 10 pieces of fruit. He said, apples are A, oranges are B. Okay? Right? What it will be is 5A and 5B. Period. That's what it is. The answer is 5A, 5B. And I went, no, it's 10AB. And he goes, no, it doesn't work that way, right? So I took mathematics upgrading, and then one day you know me, folks. I'm a live wire, right? One day I'm sitting there and I'm doing algebra and I went, apples and oranges. And the teacher, everybody in the class looked at me and said, what are you smoking? Right? Because I didn't smoke dope back then. And the teacher said, explanation? And I said, 5 apples and 5 oranges is not 10 pieces of fruit. It's 5 apples and 5 oranges. 5A plus 5B equals 5AB. Or 5A, 5B. Or whatever the hell it was. And he went, yes. And I went, and it was a eureka moment. And Howie called me, like later on in years, Howie started calling me the walking calculator. Exactly. Right? But hey, Celtic Cub, how's it going, sweetie? Celtic Bear would love to see your art. I hated algebra. Made no sense to me. Well, it probably wouldn't make sense to me today because I never use it. Thank you. I mean, all these years, from the 60s on, they were pushing people to get into university and intellectual stuff. Trades, we were taught that tradespeople were blue collar and less than. And now we got a country full of people that can't, there's nobody wants, we're short trades people, electricians, furnace, heating and air conditioning people, mechanics. You know what I mean? Our country is built on tradespeople, and people like Howie are they're not. They're getting old and they're dying off and they're retiring, and there's not enough people to fill the roles. Why? Because we were told if we went to university, we would have better opportunities. And that left no one to do the trades. Wow, am I ever out there today? Hey, Furby, how are you, darling? Well, see, I don't know, do formulas and everything more because I haven't been in high school in almost 40 years. It'll be 40 years in 2022. It'll be 40 years since I graduated from high school. I was so confused when I graduated because I don't know how I did it. And I had no idea where I was going to go from there because I thought I failed and was going to have to repeat a year. But no. So, anyway, my husband and I own a construction company, and we are tradespeople. Absolutely, Mandy. Absolutely. Where would we be if, you've heard me talk about frontline workers in this, Yes, the frontline workers are the first responders and the nurses and the doctors and the therapists and all the people. But don't you forget about the grocery store workers and the convenience store workers and the people who are pumping gas and running gas stations, making sure that the world is still open for the rest of us. Right? Those are my son Briar's my hero. He's my hero because he goes to work in a bloody convenience store every day. And until things started opening up, people would congregate and mill around in the store because there was nowhere else to go. And it drove him nuts. And he says, what's driving me nuts now, what's driving him crazy, is everybody seems to think that the coronavirus has just gone away because we're opening up roads and borders and stores and things. No. It's not, and people are going and flocking to parks and shit. No. You still have to social distance. You still have to wash your hands. Just because it's open, the whole point of locking everything down was to train people how to behave while social distancing. So that when they open things up, people will know how to behave. But no, they left it too long and people are running out going, yeah! Fresh air! Stores! And it's like, no, everybody's forgetting. There's the second wave. It's coming, man. I wanted to be a hairdresser. My dad said they were a dime a dozen and wouldn't let me, become a tradesperson. So, we haven't slowed down at all during this whole thing. Still working just the same as before. Yep. Not me. I get my fresh air in the backyard. Amen. Me too. Now listen, it's 10 minutes. It's almost after 4, and we've been here for almost an hour. And I know I've been all over the place today, but it's been one of those off the cuff days for me. So, Bev, do you use algebra? Example, you need so much fabric for front of quilt and so much fabric for back. Well, that's not algebra. That's just math. That's multiplication, division, adding and subtracting. I do that in my head. I could do that in my head, right? I'll never forget going to the Brick to buy our first stereo. And we got a stereo, and then we got extra speakers, and then we bought warranties on the stereo and the speakers that came with the stereo, but we bought it extended warranties for the speakers that we were really going to blow the shit out of. And I said, and I'm watching, this is so much, and this is so much, and he's right, filling it out, all the paperwork, and he pulls out a calculator, he said, and I looked at him, and I said, $764.49. And he started laughing, how he said, I bet you, my wife's within $10, right? I was within $3 of the price, because I added all the taxes, all the extra warranties, all that shit up in my head as he was writing them down. And then he wrote them all down. And in the time as he was writing them down, I was doing the math. He pulled out the calculator to do it as after it was written down. It was already done. But he didn't believe me. So, I mean, if not for US little people, they wouldn't have their big paying jobs. If not for us little people. And there's nothing little about us. My father climbed a ladder on the back of a truck for 29 years in Toronto traffic as a light repairman for the Toronto Hydro. And it wasn't until the last year that they got the cherry picker buckets. Last 2 years, they got the cherry picker buckets. And Dad went out in an ice storm and slipped in the cherry picker and broke his ribs. I'll never forget that. But I'll tell you something. They had the trucks. I don't know what color they are today in Toronto, but the Toronto Hydro trucks were burgundy and black. And they were ladder trucks, almost like a fire truck. But the ladders were hooked onto the trucks, but they were mounted. They were wooden ladders. They had to be erected, like kind of cranked up and stuff, right? And he said there was one they called the Widowmaker because it was old and wooden, and the rungs were greasy from so many work boots going up and down it. He said when they got the cherry picker, Dad and one of his other co-workers took out the Widowmaker, and they said they put the ladder right up and drove under a bridge. Goodbye, Widowmaker. My father was afraid of heights. And I remember, asking him about that when he was cleaning out the gutters when we lived in Absa. I didn't live there anymore. Dad lived alone. But he was cleaning out the gutters, and the ladder shifted, and he went, ooh, right? He almost had a heart attack. And he got down off the ladder, and he phoned my brother Bill and said, are you coming up this weekend? Bill said, yeah. And he goes, could you clean my gutters for me? And Billy goes, sure. And he said, I just realized I'm afraid of heights. And he told us, and I said, Jesus, Dad, how do you work 29 years going up and down ladders in busy rush hour traffic every friggin' day, changing light bulbs in street lights, and not know you were afraid of heights? He said, Bev, I had 5 kids. You do what you gotta do. That is nothing. You can't tell me, blue collar, white collar, whatever, that wasn't a man who looked after his family, and he only had a grade 8 education. Guess what? My dad was one of the most intelligent people I know because he was well read. I didn't get a lot of education out of school, but I'm well read, right? Calstorm, hi! Every job is important. It wouldn't be a job if it wasn't, unless it's one that's to make work. Make work jobs are just a pain in the butt. But work is work, right? And there's a lot of people who'd be happy to have it. And there's a lot of lazy young people today who think that they should be standing around playing with their cell phones behind, drive-thrus and making fun of the people in the drive-thrus. You know what I mean? And playing on their phones instead of quality work. I don't know where pride and workmanship went because it wasn't just an artistic thing. Pride in workmanship has always been pride in workmanship, not just artists, right? Hey, Taylor Dykeman, how's it going? If you get 5 types of fabric, A, B, C, D, and back E, yeah, so my dad was my hero. Absolutely. My son is my hero because he gets up every day and he goes to work. He went every day to work in that stupid mill in the kitchen. When the last year he worked there, he was nothing but tormented by the French staff because he couldn't speak and understand French, and he is high functioning autistic, and they battered him emotionally. They battered him emotionally to the point where he had to quit without even giving notice. He went to give notice and he said, fuck this. Because, I'm sorry. They had chained his bike in the middle of winter. He was riding his bike in winter 4 kilometers each way to go to work. And he comes out soaking wet from working in the dish pit, and someone's in a 20 below weather, and somebody has chained his bike to a chair that's frozen into the ground. And when he went back in and said, who the heck did that? And they went, oh, the key's in the office. He went in the office to get the key and said, I was going to give 2 weeks notice, but I'm here. I'm quitting. And they wouldn't give him his separation papers so he could get UI. And he didn't contest it because he had another job to go to. But that's not the point. I explained to him, Briar, you were being harassed in the workplace. You were being bullied in the workplace. The world frowns on that stuff. Pretty sure if you'd gone to the unemployment insurance office and told them what was going on, they would have demanded your separation papers. They would have investigated, and you would have got EI. And he goes, well, I don't need EI. I said, what if the store you're working in that you just started at burns down and you're out of a job again and you've got no backup for unemployment insurance? But people, it was like me in the bakery. I quit the bakery, found out later, a year later, that I could have gotten unemployment insurance because I no longer felt comfortable working in that place because I had to lie to customers. No, I found out afterwards that I could have gotten my separation. I could have demanded them. You know what I mean? So there are bullies everywhere, and my son is my hero because he faced that for a long time before he got another job, because as most people know with high functioning autism, change is not easy for him. So once he had a job, it was really, really traumatic for him to have to get to that point where he had to quit it. You know what I mean? Hi, Autumn Fireside, how's it going? Oh, wonderful. Well, the thing is I was willing to go to bat for my son. I was going to write the mill and say, you know what? My son's been bullied and made fun of and treated like garbage for the last year he's worked there, and nobody has stood up for him. Nobody. And he's the only one who, one of you can't keep a dishwasher. He's the only one who's consistently showing up, even though he's being abused. But Briar would not let me write that letter. And there was a time in my son Arthur's life when I was going to step in. It's a long story, but I won't get into it. Was when he was living with his dad. And my son said at 15 years old, no, Mom, I'm okay. I got this. That I had to give him the respect and the dignity of standing up for his own decision making, right? I had to respect his decision. I had to respect Briar's decision not to go to bat because somebody was messing with my baby. There you go. I'm glad you're doing great. No, you know what? And I learned something. I learned that every child has a button that will turn them on to love learning, okay? And if we can find that button and share it with the teachers, or if we can stop overcrowding classrooms. Do you know why Briar made it through high school? because there's only 7 in his class and they went through every grade together. Right? The teachers didn't let him slip through the cracks. You know what I mean? That school did not let my son slip through the cracks. Right? We need smaller classroom sizes. Stop medicating the children that don't fit in, and start feeding joy to our students. The joy of learning, the joy of expanding the mind, not just turning out little robots that we want to go get a job, because guess what? That doesn't work. Got a whole bunch of educated idiots out there without jobs. Why? Because there's not enough of them. But there's a whole lot of jobs waiting for tradespeople. If you're smart, and especially if you're Canadian, you have children or grandchildren who are going through school, teach them the love of learning and teach them that tradespeople are not less than. Tradespeople are the foundation of our country. Right? The pioneers, the builders, the mechanics. You know what I mean? Yeah, the engineer's up there with a white hat somewhere, but who's pulling the steel? Who's riding the cables up the top of the buildings? Workers. Wow, I'm sorry. I went off on a bit of a tangent today. When I was working in a sports store, I had idiot kids tell the owner I start at 9 a.m. and when it was time to clock out, he clocked out at 6 p.m., leaving a customer in the lurch. The mama bear in you wants to lash out. I have done. Not sure if I did any good. Kids are lazy for the most part. No, our kids aren't lazy. They're misguided. Why? Because we didn't want our children to go through what we went through. We wanted them to have everything that we didn't have. Are you kidding me? When I was a kid, we got our first color television when I was 12. No, God, Mom was alive. I was 8 when we got our first color television, let alone a television in every room, right? Let alone personal computers that kids take to the school in their pockets these days. They have everything but no guidance. You know what I mean? The kids... this is the only thing I'm ever going to say if you're a parent, and you can tell me to go to heck if you want. But kids got enough friends. They need their parents. Our job as parents is to provide and guide them to the point where that they can survive on their own. That means they know how to do up their shoes. They know how to cook. They know how to have a bank account. They know how to write a check. They know how to fill out a job application. They know how to look for work and put themselves forward. Or if they want to go to school from there, it's our jobs to guide them into what they want. I'll never forget Arthur in cadets, and he loved air cadets. He loved flying the glider. It was just loved flying. Ever since, well, we got him on a plane when he was 2. We went to Florida, right? And I said to him, Arthur, why don't you join the military? Because you're really intelligent. They'll give you your education for your service. And he goes, I'd rather pay money for my education than to blindly accept service that I don't know what I'm going to be asked to do just for my education. And I went, wow. And then, Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran and all that stuff. And I was like, really glad my son didn't join the military. So, I mean, I didn't try and push it on him, but when he sat down, when he actually explained it to me, he was only like 17 at the time. When he actually explained it to me, I went, oh, well, that makes sense, right? But we can't tell our kids what to do. We can only lead by example, set the rules, set the bar, and hope them get through it until we can get them out the door and living on their own. But up to that point, it's not just a matter of feeding them, clothing them. You got to get them educated. You got to get them believing in themselves. If you have a faith, you should try and share that with them. That's another big mistake. My children don't necessarily believe in God. And that's really painful for me, because that's their choice. And I gave that to them. And I wasn't a very guiding light until they already had their own ideas. You know what I mean? Yeah, home ec, right? Don't have driver's education anymore. Oh, we do here in Quebec. It's not in school. You have to pay $1,500 to take a driver's course before they'll even let you take the test. You can have the written test. You pass that, you get your general, if you get past the written test, you get your learner's permit. But before you can go from learner's permit to G1, you have to take a $1,500 driver safety course. And guess what? I don't know how well it works because Quebec drivers are nuts. In helicopters and back and forth all the time. Live your faith so they see it every day. Exactly. I do. And it's like, I remember the first time Briar goes, well, I don't know if I really believe in God. And I started laughing and he goes, what? I said, it's okay, son. He believes in you. And that's what I got to hold on to. That God believes that I've done okay with my children. You know what I mean? And guess what? My kids are good, honest, decent, law-abiding kids. Yeah, they're 27 and 32, but they're still my kids. And I'm still proud of them every day. You never reach the goalpost. You never stop being a parent. Not until they put you in the ground. Right? Yeah, they have schools you can hire. They have to take a drug and alcohol. I taught my daughter to respect all my belief systems and be respect. No, they respect. They respect other people's beliefs. They respect people's right to faith. They just don't necessarily have one of their own. And guess what? Faith is not something that can actually be taught. It's something that is developed over time in your life. Faith is one of those things. What was that line? Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. And I've got really common sense children. And they won't believe in things that common sense won't tell them to. Right? But the truth of the matter is, they don't disrespect anybody else's beliefs. They're some of the most respectful children of people's rights that I've ever met. Thank you, right? I guess it's because they had a big mouth. Mama! So I don't doubt they have respect. Faith is very personal. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they respect my faith, right? If I say grace at the dinner table, they don't start eating until I'm done saying grace. Why? Do they believe? Not necessarily, but they respect my faith at my dinner table. Right? So, all right, I got to run too. It's been over an hour. And now that we're talking about faith, for all those who care to, we're going to close with a spiritual hug or prayer. This is a non-denominational prayer for those who have a faith that is their own, but they just want to participate in the sharing of the love that our faith brings us together, right? If you don't have a faith and you don't want to stay, that's perfectly okay. Nobody's making you do anything you don't want to do. This is just for the rest of us. And we want to share our light and our love and our positive energy with the rest of the world, right? So, for all those who care to, please help me close with a spiritual hug. Okay? Take a deep breath. Hey God, it's us connected hearts. I don't know if I said anything worth hearing today, God, but you know what? I just opened my mouth and everything just came out, so I'm going to trust that things came out the way they were supposed to. And I'm grateful, God. I'm grateful for my Connected Hearts family and my YouTube family and all the people that come together and the people that watch when they can't come on live with us and the people that add their energies after the fact. Please, God, let us allow us to share our love and our joy and our energy with the rest of the world because it really needs it right now, God. There are still a lot of people who have been thrown into discombobulation by this coronavirus and now again being thrown into discombobulation by the opening of or borders and stores and things, even when we know the coronavirus isn't gone. So we're all a little bit confused, God. Okay? So please, God, share our light and our love and our joy and our prayers for the common sense of the people around the world so that we can once again start anew every single day because every day is a new beginning, fresh with no mistakes in it. So please, God, and thank you, Anna Green Gables, please, God, help us to spread love and joy. And for the people that are stuck and suffering, like Mary Jane, stuck in four walls with her broken telephone, you know, and no personal support worker. For people who are alone and pregnant and afraid, or together and families and pregnant and afraid because they don't want to go to the hospital right now, God, because it's still there, right? So, God, please just take our joy and our light and spread it across the world with yours. And we hope, God, and we pray that some of the light finds its way to somebody's heart who needs it today. Thank you, God, for all that you do for us on a daily basis when so many people deny you. Thank you. Amen. Namaste. Migwitch, peace be with you. Merry meet. Shalom. I hope everybody goes forth less negative and more positive, leading their life by example. I love you guys. Take care. God bless. And we'll be back a little bit earlier tomorrow. All right? I love you guys.